Good morning, friends. Today we start with fourth lecture of design of steel structure. In that, we are going to see what types of loads are acting on steel structure, and these loads, according to IS 875 1987, and these loads are considered while designing the steel structures. So in that, first one is a dead load. Dead load is nothing but the self weight of that structure. Suppose there is a roof truss on a workshop building, then that truss having I sections, angle section, purlins, weight of AC sheet or GI sheet, the whole combination of this load which is acting directly on the steel columns is known as a dead load, which is a permanent load acting on the structure. That is a dead load. Then second one is live load. Live load is nothing but it is the movable load acting on the roof truss. These live loads, such as if there is a certain problem or there is a maintenance work, at that time a human being is going there and doing the maintenance, then such type of load, extra load which we are going to provide, and it is movable, that types of load is known as a live load. Then third one is wind load. This wind load is considered for high rise structures according to IS 875 1987 part 3. And fourth one is snow load. It is also considered in snow region where it is effective. These are the four types of loads we are going to consider while designing any steel structure. Then dead load, as I told earlier, dead load is a permanent load on a structure. It is the self weight of the structure members and fixed equipments. It is depends on density of material used and geometry of members. That is, dead load is nothing but it is unit of material into volume. It gives the total dead load. Then unit of material of steel is 78.5 kilonewton per meter cube. That is, this is the weight of steel. Live load. These live loads or imposed loads are moving or movable loads without any acceleration or impact. Live load is the occupant's load, that is human being load, and load due to the furniture which we have provided or put in the structure, that is the furniture load. It depends on functional use of that structure. This is the load, live load consideration. Then wind load. The wind load exerted by wind on a structure is called as wind load. It causes external and internal pressures and suction on building. That is, suction is nothing but when wind is acting on the roof structure, it is known as windward side. At that time we have to consider the internal and external pressure. Wind is acting externally, wind, then in some internal pressure is developed in that building, and this is known as suction on buildings. The designed wind load is a function of wind speed. That is, this wind factor depends on the speed of the wind. Heavy the wind speed, then the load is more. The risk coefficient, terrain roughness, aspect ratio of building, and local topographic features. That is, wind load depends on the wind speed. Second one is risk factor, that is risk coefficient, that is considered as K1. Terrain roughness K2, aspect ratio K3. These all the designed aspects are going to use while solving the problems. Again we will discuss at that time. The designed wind pressure at any height is calculated from the designed wind velocity. That is, wind velocity is very important while designing the wind pressure. Then snow loads. Snow loads are to be considered in the region of snowfall, that is northern part of India, that is in Himalaya. The roofs in these regions should be designed for the snow loads specified in IS 875. Then, while designing any steel structure, as we are considering the types of loads, such a way that it affects the design. So, while designing, there are two methods. First one is limit state method and second one is working stress method. But nowadays we are going to use the limit state method of design. In that method, this limit state method includes the acceptable limit for the safety and serviceability requirements before failure occurs is called as limit state. Means it is the acceptable limit. Limit state is nothing but it is the acceptable. We can accept that limit for the safety and serviceability. These components, safety and serviceability, we are going to see again afterwards. Safety service requirements before failure occurs is called as limit state. The different types of limit states are: first one, limit state of strength, and it includes plastic collapse, stability against overturning and sliding. That is, when we are going to consider the limit state method, in that there are different types, and that first type is limit state of strength and second one is limit state of serviceability. In limit of state of strength, it includes plastic collapse, stability against overturning and sliding. And second one, that is limit state of serviceability, it includes deflection, durability, vibration and fire resistance. That is, in limit state method all these types are considered and then design is done. So limit state method is a very useful method in steel construction. Then we are going to use another word, that is partial safety factor. This partial safety factor is nothing but the safety of the structure depends on the load and material strength. That consider when you are considering to design a structure, in that you have to consider or you have to depend on the load and which material you are going to use. That is that material strength, which are not the functions of each other. The load is different and material strength is different. That is, these two members, that is load and material strength, are functions of each other, not each other. So these two safety factors contribute partially to safety of the structure. Hence it is termed as partial safety factor. The partial safety factor for material as per IS 800 is given as below. That is, resistance governed by yielding, the partial safety factor, that is gamma m0, is 1.1. The resistance of member to buckling, that is gamma m0, that is 1.1. That is, for partial safety factor for material, resistance governed by yielding or resistance governed by buckling is same, that is considered as 1.1, while resistance governed by ultimate stress, this ultimate stress is the final stress, and that is gamma m1, is taken as 1.25. Similarly, the resistance of connection for shaft or filled, that is when the structure is made in the shaft, then its resistance of connection is different, while if it used or it is constructed in field, then its resistance of connection is different. So for bolt friction type, the shaft fabrication is 1.25 and for field fabrication is 1.25. That is for bolts, friction type bolts, the gamma EMF for shaft fabrication and field fabrication is same. Similarly, in bearing, the bolts bearing type gamma MB for shaft fabrication and field fabrication remains same, and that is 1.25, but for welds it differs, that is gamma MW. W is the weld and gamma M is partial factor safety for that member. In shaft is 1.25, while for field it is 1.50. These values you must be remembered. So thank you. We'll start with